Life's challenges often come without warning, and how we respond to them can shape our emotional resilience. Overcoming adversity is not about avoiding difficulties, but learning to face them with composure. In moments of tension or frustration, many people turn to philosophy as a way of making sense of their emotional reactions. One school of thought, Stoicism, teaches the value of maintaining control over one's emotions and finding inner peace despite external chaos. The Stoics believe that our emotions are not governed by the circumstances we find ourselves in, but by how we interpret and respond to them. This mindset encourages a sense of emotional resilience that allows individuals to stand firm in the face of adversity. Part of this resilience can also be cultivated through humour, particularly humour at one's expense. While it can be incredibly challenging to laugh at ourselves, especially in moments where we feel belittled or vulnerable, it can serve as a powerful tool for growth. Humour allows us to distance ourselves from the sting of an insult, seeing it as something to be processed and eventually let go of, rather than something that defines us. Though initially uncomfortable, learning to accept jokes at our own expense can help build a stronger, more resilient mindset, one that faces adversity with grace and strength. It's a familiar feeling. A joke is made at your expense, and suddenly you feel a knot in your stomach. The immediate reaction is often a mix of embarrassment, frustration, and defensiveness. It's hard not to take offense when someone makes a joke at your cost, particularly if it touches on something personal or sensitive. Your natural instinct is to protect your dignity, defend yourself, or perhaps even retaliate with a cutting remark of your own. These emotions, although human, can quickly escalate the situation into a negative cycle of conflict or hurt feelings. In the face of humour that feels disrespectful, it can be difficult to remain composed. The urge to react impulsively can be overwhelming. The feeling of being the target of a joke that undermines your worth or identity strikes a blow to your self-esteem. Yet while it's natural to feel hurt or defensive, Stoicism offers a different perspective on how to handle these emotions. Rather than allowing an external comment to dictate how you feel, Stoic principles suggest taking a step back and choosing how to respond, whether that's with calm detachment or with a level-headed perspective. By not succumbing to the immediate impulse to react, we can exercise control over our emotional state. The Stoics believe that our emotional responses are not shaped by external events themselves, but by our interpretation of those events. In other words, the joke made at your expense does not have to define your emotional state unless you allow it to. This is a core principle of Stoicism. We have the power to control our reactions to external stimuli. While we may not be able to control what others say or do, we can control how we internalize those words and the emotions they provoke. For example, a Stoic approach to humour at one's expense might be to recognize that the joke, while perhaps uncomfortable or hurtful, is simply an external event. The insult or remark has no inherent power to harm you unless you attach meaning to it that makes it personal. The Stoics emphasize the importance of distinguishing between what is within our control, our thoughts and responses, and what is outside of it, the actions and words of others. In this sense, a Stoic would not react impulsively with anger or shame, but would instead take a step back and evaluate the situation. A Stoic might choose to laugh at the joke, not because it doesn't sting, but because they understand that humour is fleeting. It is not an attack on their character or dignity, but simply a momentary interaction. By consciously choosing to not let the comment affect their emotional state, they are able to maintain inner peace. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions, but rather acknowledging them without allowing them to control one's behaviour. In this way, Stoicism encourages emotional resilience, helping individuals navigate disrespectful humour with composure and dignity. In moments of tension, when emotions are high and words are sharp, a simple pause can be an incredibly powerful tool. It is a momentary break between stimulus and response that allows a person to regain composure and clear their mind, rather than immediately reacting to a joke or comment that might feel disrespectful or hurtful. Taking a brief pause gives you the space to reflect on how to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. This moment of stillness is a small but mighty act of self-control, one that can diffuse the emotional charge of the situation. This pause aligns closely with Stoic practices of mindfulness and self-discipline. Stoicism teaches the importance of pausing to reflect before acting, acknowledging that our first emotional responses may not always be the most rational or helpful. A person who practices Stoicism is aware of their emotional triggers, and through this awareness can choose to pause and regain control of the situation. By resisting the urge to react immediately, the individual can instead respond with clarity, calmness, and a sense of purpose, rather than falling into a reactive emotional cycle. In this way, the pause becomes a tool of empowerment. It allows the individual to break free from the automatic impulse to defend or retaliate, and instead choose a response that aligns with their values and emotional resilience. The Stoic understands that external events are out of their control, but how they respond to those events is entirely within their power. A well-timed pause allows for a thoughtful and deliberate response, reinforcing the Stoic ideal of equanimity in the face of life's inevitable challenges. One effective strategy, when faced with humour at your expense, is to ask the speaker to repeat their comment. While this might seem like an unconventional response, it can subtly shift the power dynamics of the conversation and disarm the humour in an unexpected way. By calmly requesting that the speaker repeat their words, you take the focus off yourself and place it back on them. This tactic shifts the attention from your perceived vulnerability to the integrity of their words. It forces the speaker to confront their own remark, and in many cases, it may cause them to reconsider their choice of humour altogether. In Stoic terms, this technique is an exercise in self-control and mindfulness. Rather than reacting impulsively to the offence, you pause, calmly request clarification, and allow the situation to unfold without giving in to automatic emotional reactions. This pause not only serves to regain composure, but also subtly challenges the intent behind the humour. By requesting a repeat of the comment, you remove the immediate impact of the joke and gain control over the situation. The power of this approach lies in the fact that the speaker may feel awkward or self-conscious when forced to repeat a remark that was meant to be light-hearted but may have crossed a line. This strategy aligns with Stoic principles by emphasizing emotional independence and detachment. By asking for repetition, you refuse to allow the comment to disturb your emotional peace. Instead, you focus on the dynamics of the interaction, which enables you to respond with dignity rather than defensiveness. Asking someone to repeat a comment not only serves as a shield, but also functions as a mirror, reflecting back to the speaker the potential insensitivity or rudeness in their words. When a person is asked to repeat a joke or remark, the conversation dynamic shifts. The speaker is no longer in control of the narrative, and the focus is momentarily placed on them rather than on you. This subtle reversal exposes the remark's impact, potentially causing the speaker to realize the effect their words have had. In many cases, the repeated comment may sound more harsh or thoughtless when heard again, prompting the speaker to reconsider their words and possibly apologize or retract their statement. This strategy serves as a powerful shield because it provides emotional distance from the remark. Instead of internalizing the joke and letting it affect your self-esteem or emotional state, you create a space between yourself and the comment. By asking for repetition, you assert your emotional independence. The comment no longer holds power over you, as you refuse to engage in the emotional exchange it tries to provoke. You have, in essence, chosen to disengage from the impulse to be offended. Moreover, asking for repetition demonstrates Stoic indifference to petty remarks. The Stoic approach encourages individuals to rise above trivial slights and to focus on what truly matters. By asking the speaker to repeat their words, you show that you're not bound by the fleeting emotions that can arise from insults or humour at your expense. Instead, you display emotional autonomy, reminding both yourself and others that you're not defined by external comments but by your own inner strength and wisdom. This response reinforces the Stoic belief that true peace comes not from avoiding negativity, but from cultivating a mindset that is indifferent to it. At the heart of Stoic philosophy lies the virtue of emotional independence, the ability to maintain inner calm and emotional stability, regardless of external circumstances. In a world that often tests our patience and resilience, especially through the behaviour of others, the Stoic approach encourages individuals to develop a firm inner foundation that remains unshaken by the fluctuations of life. This virtue is especially relevant when faced with humour at our expense or disrespectful comments. Responding with poise in such situations demonstrates emotional strength, as it is not about suppressing emotions, but choosing not to let external remarks control your inner state. The Stoic sees that true harm does not come from the words of others, but from how we perceive and internalize those words. When someone makes a joke at your expense, the impact is not in the joke itself, but in how you interpret it. If you choose to see it as a slight, an attack, or a moment of humiliation, you give it power over your emotions. However, if you view the comment as a trivial external event that does not alter your sense of self, you retain control of your emotional response. By practicing emotional independence, you detach your self-worth from the opinions of others and instead rely on your internal sense of dignity and self-respect. This Stoic virtue empowers you to rise above temporary discomforts, maintaining your inner peace despite the actions of others. It is through this lens that you cultivate resilience, understanding that external events cannot dictate your emotional landscape unless you allow them to. Ultimately, emotional independence is the cornerstone of Stoic strength, enabling you to remain unwavering in the face of life's challenges. A witty but respectful comeback can be one of the most powerful tools in maintaining your composure when faced with humour at your expense. Rather than reacting defensively or with anger, you can flip the joke in a way that subtly turns the tables without escalating the situation. A well-timed, clever response shows that you are unshaken by the comment and can even find humour in the situation, all while maintaining your dignity. The key is to ensure that your comeback is rooted in wisdom and respect. A Stoic would avoid making a retaliatory or hurtful remark that could escalate the conflict. Instead, the goal is to disarm the situation with a response that demonstrates confidence and emotional resilience. For example, if someone jokes about your appearance, instead of reacting with frustration or attempting to defend yourself, you could make a light-hearted comment about your own quirks, turning the attention away from your vulnerability and reframing the joke in a more playful way. This response reflects the Stoic principle of emotional independence by showing that the comment does not shake your inner peace. It reinforces that your sense of self-worth is not reliant on the opinions or humour of others. However, care must be taken not to cross the line into sarcasm or disrespect. The goal is to keep the interaction light-hearted and constructive, demonstrating that you are in control of the situation without dismissing the other person's perspective entirely. A witty comeback, when done with grace, showcases emotional resilience and wisdom, further solidifying your inner strength in the face of adversity. There are times when the most powerful response to repeated disrespect is not to engage, but to walk away. The Stoic philosophy teaches that we must choose our battles wisely and know when it is better to disengage from an interaction in order to preserve our peace of mind. When faced with repeated disrespectful humour or comments, a Stoic understands that further confrontation only feeds negativity and disrupts their inner calm. Walking away is not an act of weakness, but an exercise in emotional self-control and boundary setting. It is a recognition that some situations are not worth the emotional energy required to continue engaging with them. Instead of allowing disrespect to escalate into conflict or prolonged emotional turmoil, walking away preserves your dignity and mental clarity. This decision to disengage reflects the Stoic principle that our emotional peace is far more valuable than winning an argument or proving a point. By choosing to step away, you maintain control over your emotional state and avoid the cycle of reactivity that could arise from further engagement. A Stoic would also view walking away as a way to protect their sense of self-respect. By disengaging, you signal that you will not tolerate repeated disrespect and that your emotional independence is non-negotiable. This act also serves as a reminder that peace of mind is far more important than external validation or approval. In some cases, silence speaks louder than words. Walking away, then, is not just a response to disrespect, but a conscious choice to preserve your inner equilibrium, setting healthy boundaries and reflecting the Stoic ideal of cultivating a life of virtue over external validation. Walking away from a difficult or disrespectful situation may seem counterintuitive to some, but in the context of Stoicism, it reflects great strength and wisdom. The Stoic philosophy teaches us that we cannot control the actions of others, but we have full control over our responses. By choosing to walk away, we embrace this fundamental Stoic principle of distinguishing between what is within our control and what is not. In doing so, we take back the power in a situation as we choose not to allow toxic interactions to dictate our emotional state. In a world where many people feel the pressure to confront or stand up for themselves in every situation, walking away is a powerful, often overlooked alternative. It serves as a clear statement that we are not interested in engaging in negative energy or unnecessary conflict. Rather than allowing a disrespectful comment or joke to escalate into a full-blown argument or emotional outburst, leaving the situation preserves our dignity and emotional well-being. By removing ourselves from toxicity, we demonstrate that we value our inner peace more than the need to prove a point or win an argument. There is also empowerment in walking away. The act of choosing to leave a situation when we know it is no longer productive or respectful is an exercise in self-respect. It is a reminder that we do not need external validation or approval to feel secure in ourselves. In fact, it is through this conscious choice to walk away that we assert our boundaries and reinforce our emotional independence, taking full responsibility for our reactions and well-being. Walking away from disrespectful or harmful situations also sets an important precedent for others. When we remove ourselves from toxic interactions, we send a clear message about our boundaries. Those who interact with us begin to understand that we will not tolerate mistreatment or disrespect. This is not a signal of weakness or avoidance, but a demonstration of self-respect. The more consistently we set boundaries by walking away from situations that undermine our dignity, the more others will begin to recognize and respect our personal space and limits. Over time, this action influences how people treat us. They begin to understand that we value ourselves and will not engage in interactions that diminish our worth. This can lead to more respectful and mindful behavior from others, as they become aware that their words and actions have consequences. Setting boundaries in this way fosters healthier, more mutually respectful relationships, both in personal and professional settings. It shows others that we are capable of standing firm in our principles, and it encourages them to do the same. In a broader sense, consistently walking away from disrespect also models for others the importance of emotional independence and self-respect. It encourages a culture where mutual respect is prioritized and personal boundaries are acknowledged. By maintaining these boundaries, we cultivate an environment where everyone is empowered to protect their emotional well-being and to foster relationships based on respect rather than conflict. In the fast-paced and often unpredictable world we live in, The lessons of Stoicism provide a valuable framework for maintaining composure and emotional resilience. By applying Stoic principles, such as emotional independence, the power of pausing, and the wisdom in walking away, we can navigate life's challenges with grace and strength. Stoicism teaches us that we are not helpless in the face of adversity. Rather, we have the power to choose our reactions and shape our inner responses to external events. The power of Stoic philosophy lies in its practicality. Whether facing humour at our expense, being disrespected, or simply enduring life's inevitable difficulties, Stoicism encourages us to see these challenges as opportunities for growth and personal development. Each moment of adversity is a chance to strengthen our emotional resilience and reinforce the qualities that allow us to live with dignity and peace. Living stoically is not about avoiding life's difficulties, but embracing them with mindfulness and self-control. It is about recognizing that while we cannot control others or the world around us, we have the power to control how we respond. By doing so, we can transform everyday challenges into opportunities for personal growth and wisdom, and in turn, live a life of peace, purpose, and strength.